Once too hot to handle, now as cold as ice. A flash of Roman candles burned out into the night. I'd been up and down it, I'd studied long and hard. There was no way around it, it was written in the cards. It was time to hit the brakes. It was time to hit the brakes. It was time to call it quits. It was time to hit the brakes.
Hi, everybody. How are you today? All right. Oops, I don't know why we keep playing this. All right. Hold on. I might be on some. Give me 1 second. All right. How are you doing? Pretty good? All right. So this is the second installment. Hi, Julianne. How are you today? This is going to be the second installment of the plan. It's a small half of the chapter that we're going to go over. It's a little like, say, oh, I want to say a little boring and complicated, but it'll be interesting. Hi, Sandy. How are you tonight? All right. I'm sure there will be other people that will be joining us as soon as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed the last one. I realized after how long it was. Hi, Joanne. How are you? How long the other one was, and we're like, wow, it was like over an hour and a half. Good. I'm glad you're doing good, Sandy. I'm glad you're doing good. All right. So it was over an hour and a half long. But anyway, we got an update with about Jesse Elvis from Linda on that episode, and when you have neuropathy, my father has neuropathy as well, and it can get hurt, it hurts, but also you don't feel your feet, and stuff like that, and it can make you tired. So I'm gonna assume that he probably only uses that wheelchair when needed, but I could be wrong. I don't think he's in it completely. In other words, he might use a walker. Who knows what he uses? But anyway, as long as he's not walking unattended, because if you have neuropathy, you could fall very easily. So let's keep him in our prayers still. He's dealing with aging. That's what it is. I said to the group the other day, and those of you that are on my group will know, I said on the group last night in a little bit of a live stream rant that I was going to do a video about his health challenges. I'm probably going to do just a regular video. I might not do that on live. And just if I do it on live, it'll be on Facebook Live, and then what I'll do is upload the video from there to here, so everyone will get a chance to see it. All right. It'll be basically all the notes of everything that he's gone through in the last X amount of years since Linda's site opened. Actually, from the time his book came out to the time till now. And believe me, it's quite a long list of issues. All right. So we'll just keep him in your prayers. He's had a long, difficult life, health-wise and other ways. But he's probably a lot happier now than he was when he was Elvis, because he's not in that, I want to call it, the gilded cage of fame. Even though he has to hide from fame a little bit, he's a little bit happier probably, even though he's hurting right now. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to finish the rest of this chapter, and it's going to be a little bit shorter because I didn't realize how short it was. But I got this book confused with the Elvis Files. The Elvis Files has more numerology in it, but I have covered that before in another video. So what I will do is when I'm done with this, I will, when it's all done processing, I will click on, put it up there or in the video behind as a recommended video. You guys can watch it if you want. There's a bunch of live videos and maybe one or two live videos dealing with numerology, as well as one video I did way back when called Numerology's Role in the Death Plan. So there is a lot of about numerology. So this is probably going to be a repeat of a lot of those videos. But I'm just going to stick to what she says in here because it was very interesting. I read it and I was like, hey, I didn't realize that was a clue. So when we get there, I'll let you know what was a clue. A numerology clue. All right. So I'm going to put on my little presentation thing here and I'm going to get to the right spot. I added more to this chapter. So, the Kairos Book of Numbers was the book Elvis consulted often. Actually, in his book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, he said numerology plays an important part in his life even today. So, he consults this book all the time. And he planned his life around it. His important events, his whatever he had, he planned around it. And he said that in his book as well. Okay. So, in Elvis, We Love You Tender, which his family talks about his fascination with subjects of enlightenment. Now, Elvis was a student of all religions. Elvis embraced every faith there was. Buddhist teachings, theories surrounding meditation and yoga. It fascinated him the inner workings of the human mind and the human body. Medicine, psychology, parapsychology, and various philosophies intrigued him. Books that taught self-enlightenment became favorites. He was interested in how human thought had developed over the centuries. He studied the teachings of spiritualists, mystics, and physics. He even looked into Scientology and the teachings of various gurus. He's also been known to look into Mormonism. He looked into all kinds of different higher consciousness types of teachings. Okay. So beyond these interests, Elvis questions psychokinesis, mind control, telepathy, ESP, and the connection between character and one's destiny. Now, he was into all of these different religions. It does not mean that he was an evil person, but he did dabble and he did study many religions. But I also think he might have took those, but his main religion that he did study was Christianity. And I think that sometimes getting to know what other religions are like can help you in your walk with the Lord as far as your helping other people learn. But it's also very dangerous to dabble in some of these worldly types of religions, especially the mind, the mind. Because Buddhism has a lot to do with controlling of the mind. You can do it yourself, those types of things. So anyway, he really was into numerology. And he still is today. So there are two types of numerology, but we're going to go over just this one through the Kairos Book of Numbers. I have read the Kairos book and it's very interesting. As a matter of fact, if you watch a lot of like prophetic voices, Amanda Grace is one. The other one that I saw that had some numbers I think even Joseph Z might have mentioned a number, the number 16, which was quite interesting the other day. So they do use numbers, and the Hebrew number 5, if you look at the symbol of that, I think Amanda Gray said that, it means life. And Elvis used to wear that Hebrew emblem on his neck. Quite interesting. So if I can get a clip of that, I will, and share it on the group with the picture. That'll be kind of cool. So he used numerology quite often in a lot of the things in his life, his concerts, his jewelry, things like that. Okay. So the meaning of the vibration of the numbers took on great significance. Goldman, in his Elvis book, told how Elvis consulted Cairo's books of numbers before deciding on an engagement date with Ginger Alden. Very few books written about Elvis overlook his fascination with Cairo's books of numbers. It was usually beside him, beside his bed. He supposedly charted his concerts, his albums, his life by the numbers, carrying this book with him when he traveled. He was rarely without it. There are pictures of Elvis carrying it. Right. So I stress the Cairo books of numbers for many reasons. If Elvis were to plot his death, it would have fit numerology, and the sequence of numbers would have to have special meaning and a message for him alone. Now remember, this book was written in 1988. That is before The Truth of Elvis Aaron Presley in his own words came out. All right. For her to come out and actually figure this out, that he used numerology to plan his death, was quite an amazing thing, I think. Okay. I mean, it matches almost completely with his book, except she explains just a little bit more, which I kind of like. All right. So she said Elvis always said that he would die the same day as his mother, and at the age of 42. Many journalists to this day believe Gladys was 42 when she died on August 14, 1958. A close look at her grave reveals that she was born August 25th, 1912, which made her 46, not 42. And Elvis knew her true age because several years after Gladys's death, Elvis added to her memorial stone the Star of David, which he wore with a cross around his neck. Elvis allowed this distortion of his mother's age, perhaps because it better fit into his own plans. Although Elvis wore the Star of David and a cross around his neck, telling everyone that he did not want to avoid getting into heaven on a technicality. And he actually said that in Elvis Found Alive. We will go over that movie eventually. I'm going to do it. But he said that. And I thought that was quite interesting how she said it here and he said that in 2009 or 10 or whenever he had that recorded. He deliberately had it added to his mother's memorial stone. A close examination of Elvis's stone at Graceland bearing his misspelled name shows only a cross and the TCB emblem, which means taking care of business. So why, when the Star of David was so important to him, does it not appear on his gravestone? We don't know. But I know that his mother has a Jewish line, I believe, on his mother's side, his grandmother's side. And so his mother had Jewish heritage. So he really honored that heritage. Okay, so I'm just going to stop here for a minute so I can read this, and I'm going to go to the next page. So this book is often consulted. Actually, this book is called consulted all the time. If you remember in the letters, Byrne tells us about the day when he met Elvis, well, Jesse Presley, at his farmhouse, and he pulls out the book of numbers. Well, this is the book. All right. And every friend that has written stories, Jerry Schilling, Priscilla Presley, even Joe Esposito, and a couple others have mentioned this book, Cairo's Book of Numbers. All right. So he used this book a lot. So he never left without it. It was always with him. And the meaning of the vibration of numbers took on significance. He planned to die in his 40s like his mother. He like told people, I won't make it past 45, is what he said. And her birth date was April 25th, 1912. And she died August 14th, 1958, at the age of 46. Okay, so choosing the date. So this is how she said he chose the date. And there might be a little bit more extra here, so I'm going to keep reading about the Star of David. I did not put that in the notes here. So one would think that Vernon would not only spell his son's name correctly, the name he gave his son, but would honor Elvis's religious crossover. He knew of Elvis's wishes. They certainly came across loud and clear. Thus, again, we have another interesting enigma about the gravestone. So if Elvis were to choose a date to leave, he would definitely check Kairos. 24 is the ideal vibration. It means fortunate, promises assistance, and association to the rank and position, and is the most favorable number when it comes out in relation to such plans. And he said 24 followed him. 24 was a number that tended to follow him. And if you took 1977 and you added it together, it equals 24. And then he said he just flipped it around. Well, every major event that happened in his life equal 24, like 1968 equal 24. So the next time the year would equal 24, he happened to be 42, and he felt that was a perfect year to do this. But there's more to it, so I'm going to keep going. And that was from his book. Okay. He was also aware of the power of threes. It is said to have the ideal vibration. A date would have to work perfectly at least 3 times. In this case, it would have to come out to 24. There's a great deal of significance in the date, August 16th, 1977. In numerology, that means the 8th month, 16th day, and 1977 year. So 8 plus 16 plus 1977, you come up with the 2001. Now, the interesting thing about 2001, there's 2 things. So this first one, the most important numbers of his life in Elvis was 2001. It was his theme song that he used to enter the stadium or the concert in, called 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay. Also, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley in His Own Words came out in the year 2001. Interesting. Okay. The test of the importance of that date, the number further and perfect number 24, you find that only August 16th, 1977 would have worked. Elvis may have wanted to use August 14th, the date of Gladys's departure, but he could not work out the 3 24s he needed. he had to choose the 16th, and 2001 was a pivotal starting point. It worked. Consider August 16th, which is the 8th month, 16th day, totaling 24. And then the number 1977 is added. It means equals 24. Further, 1977 subtracted from his key number of 2001 yields the third 24 to make a perfect plan. So that's kind of interesting. So what she's saying is that if you take 1,977, add the 16, and add the 8, you get 2001. So there's 3 24s, because 8 plus 16 equals 24. 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7 equals 24. And if you add all of these together, you come up with 2001, which is this third 24. If you subtract 1977 from 2001. I don't know. If it's hard to explain, I'm sorry. I'm not a numerologist. But what I thought was interesting was it says it's also favorable with rank and position. And we remember that Elvis was considered the king of rock and roll. So he had rank and position. Quite interesting. Okay. She's gonna go on more about this, but I'm gonna keep going here. And Elvis could have further verified this date by taking the year of his birth, 1935, and add its chosen death, the age chosen for death, 42, and added the 8th month and the 16th day, and again come up with a coveted 2001. Because 1935 plus 42 plus 8 plus 16 equals 2001. So Elvis was pleased to discover that although the number 8 was his numerical vibration, all right, so that is the year of his birth, his birthday. The whole birthday added together will equal 8. His his name vibration was 9, which was the same as Jesus. I have it up here. So each letter in the Kairos Book of Numbers, if you look on this slide here on the left, this is a copy of the page. Each letter has a number assigned. You could do this to your own name. It's kind of a cool way. I just used his first name, Elvis. So E equals 5 and 3, and L equals 3. And just look up here and look. L equals 3, and V is 6, and I is 1, and 3 is, and that equals 18. And then 1, you take these apart, you add these, get 1 plus 8 equals 9. So that's where she's getting the 9 from on his name. Okay. So I think he really liked that idea, and that he had the same name vibration as Jesus. So we were to spell out Jesus and add the names and the numbers together, the letters together, the numbers from those, it will equal 9. Well, anyway. So Elvis was pleased to discuss. Okay, I already said that. So in the film 2001, Space Odyssey, from which Elvis chose his theme song, concerns the cosmic order of man through space and time, man's infinite and glorious immortality inside a spacecraft named Orion. If Elvis deliberately chose this date, then it's interesting to note that in the film it is in the toilet where the supreme character or hero executed his plans for immortality. Recall that Elvis's body was found in the bathroom. 2001 is about illusion and the metaphysical. I find this even more intriguing when one considers the emergence of a singer named Orion, two masked illusions. Even in Priscilla Presley's book Elvis and Me, she says that Elvis's fascination with the Cairo's books of numbers, he did an A and then he was described as a lonely heart, and he hides his feelings, and he does as he pleases. And Priscilla was very afraid that she wouldn't be compatible or whatever, but come to find out, I guess she was. Then she later describes an incident that took place a few months prior to August 1977, when she and Lisa were in the mansion, and he canceled the tour due to illness. And Elvis called her up to the bedroom in order to read something important out of the Cairo's books of numbers. That he was intent on finding his place in the universe, and many, including Priscilla, state Elvis had not discovered his purpose in life. So Priscilla stated in one interview that Elvis would have been happy in a small farm, someplace out of the limelight. He told the news reporters that he wished he could be like him and wished he could walk around like an ordinary person. His stepmother said that he would have been happy as a doctor. He did a lot of reading on medicines and stuff like that. That's what she said. Another state Elvis's true calling was in ministry, but it really wasn't. So whatever Elvis was searching for, it is apparent that he wanted to heal, to help, and to give, which explains his legendary generosity. So Elvis was a man in search. Part of this search apparently rested in the pages of the Book of Numbers, and perhaps Elvis would find the answer. Priscilla does not explain what it was Elvis wanted her to read. However, it had a hold significance, and Priscilla must have been of importance to Elvis as he shared his search. What was it in Kairos that held significance? And did it have anything to do with what was to come? And we don't know because Priscilla never said what it was that he wanted her to know. Either she was sworn to secrecy or she didn't listen. Okay. So later she finds this fascinating that in later when she recalls the never traveled anywhere without his Kairos book of numbers. He hand carried it. He read it in the airplane. He kept it in his room, the hotel, in hospital rooms, his bedroom. Yet hours after his death, Priscilla went up to Elvis's bedroom and found something very strange. His nightstand was bare of books. In the inventory of the estate report, there was no mention of Kairos or the Bible or any book. And what happened to the Kairos book of numbers? Had he already packed it away? We know Elvis was not ready reading that particular book the day he died. If he had hoaxed his death, he would have certainly packed Kairos and his Bible. In all the confusion, no one would notice, yet the other side of the coin is if Elvis did indeed die and died, in all the confusion and sorrow, why would anyone pack away those books just hours after his death? Perhaps Elvis did take them with him, not the other side around, not the other way around. All right. So she does mention that there were no books on the nightstand. He always had books up there. And of course, the Bible and the Kairos book of numbers were also missing from the inventory. So the evidence is that he did take the Kairos book of numbers with him because obviously Byrne was one to tell us that that book was pulled out. He was asked his birth date, his full name, and Elvis did the numbers. All right. Or Jesse did the numbers. All right. So now that I'm done that chapter, it wasn't that long, but it was meaty. That chapter was very meaty, and it had a lot in it. And the next chapter is called The Truth. So this one is about the medical examiner's report. So this will be a very interesting chapter. All right. So I'm sorry to bore you guys with all that math, but it does solidify and it kind of makes sense. You know, I think the way Jesse was describing it, it was good, but when she said that 2001 and it clicked. It's quite interesting. So the music that he chose for his concerts was called 2001, and the movie had something to do with Orion, and interesting. Very interesting stuff. Okay. So I said hello to Julianne earlier and Sandy and Joanne. And I'm glad you're good, Sandy. And Nan. Hi, Nan. How are you today? Right. Interesting. We are in 2024, which equals 8, right? And if we were to take, all right, let's see, August, there was an interesting day, August 8th, 2024. I don't know if anything happened that day, but that was 320. That was 3/8. That day was 3/8. So it was quite interesting. But yeah. And I think yeah. I'm saying since 24 is significant to him. Adding this year equals 8. Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't think anything significant happened on the 8th of August or even the 16th of August this year. But we don't know, you know. I think it's quite interesting how, let's say, Lisa Marie Presley's book is coming out October 8th, 2024. I mean, if we think about this, Elvis was born 1/8/1935, right? Oh, well, if you do the number, add those numbers together, 1 and 8 equals 9, but that doesn't equal 8. But interesting. Sometimes he uses the 8th day to do things that are released on the 8th day. Not necessarily like December 8th, 1988. He comes into the record studio with the rest of the songs for Spelling on the Stone. The 8th of the month. Hi, Diane. How are you? Hi, Chanel. How are you? Hi, Norma. Diane. It's so cool. And I couldn't wrap my head around this if I tried. But the way he described it in his book, and if you guys haven't had a chance to look at the Truth Book series that I have out, check that out. It has a lot of numerology and how he came up with the date. He basically said he looked at it from, there were 2 boys born on the 8th, the first month. So then he said, well, why not do the 8th month and the 16th day? And then 1977 equaled 24. But I think if he had gone even deeper than and explained it the way Gail just explained it, it would have made a lot of sense. Anyway, Nan, always good when I can join you. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad, Nan. Interesting but confusing. Yes. And I think you have to be a numerology student. You have to understand the numbers, It's very hard. All right. And so if you guys ever get a chance, there's some more numerology videos I have out that actually go into it some more too. So hope you feeling good. This is interesting. I am feeling very good. I'm not sick or anything. I have a little bit of an allergy because it is fall and the trees pollinate in the fall. But overall, I'm feeling good. And not quite fall yet, but it's getting there and the trees are starting to change color up here in New Hampshire. So, yeah, it's like fall. All right. So, I'm glad you find this interesting. This book is very meaty. I have to break the chapters up into two sections because there's so much in them. Like so much. Yep. You were born on the 8th too. That must mean you're an 8. This actually, oh, I forgot to tell you. I told you I would tell you. There are two books of numerology. One is Kairos. The other one, I can't remember the name of it. But that one does a little bit more, adds the year into the numerology and the month. So, you know, Kairos just uses your day that you were born to give you the number. So I was born the 25th, like Elvis's mom. I was born on August 25th. So my number is 7. Uh, yeah. My number is 7. 2 plus 5. If I were to go in the other book, it comes out to be a 5. And the interesting with that is that the they have characteristics of these people. The characteristics of the 7 in this book, Kairos, and the characteristics in this of a 5 in the other book, almost exactly the same. So it's kind of weird. 8, 8. Cool. So you had an what do you call it? A 24 birthday. A birthday that equaled 24 this year. Because this year's equals 8 too. So cool. Must it was a really good birthday. I've always known since 2011 that Bob, at Bob. Okay, well, I'm gonna say something, Brenda, and that is, can you look at the TV? Look at the videos from this past week of Bob Joyce singing and praising the Lord and playing the piano and guitar and standing up at the podium and speaking and preaching, and then let me know if you see him sitting down in a wheelchair. I want to know because the real Elvis has neuropathy and he is in and out of a wheelchair. Anyway, They just they don't and he's 89, so he's pretty old and feeling old. Bob Joyce is still kind of, you know, energetic and everything and blessed by the Lord too. All right. 67. Well, cool. Hi. Hi Brenda, how are you? All right. Oh no, I tune in here and hear about the impersonator Bob Joyce. Poor souls really fall for that fake news stories about Bob. Yeah, well, uh, it's all over the internet. That's the challenge. All right. Um, yeah, but that's okay. I um I try my best to steer people in the right direction. So hopefully they will see that Bob Joyce was not singing from a wheelchair or preaching from a wheelchair on Sunday, because we know or I mean, yeah, as we know that he was in and out of a wheelchair probably. And yes, I saw your video, SK, as well, and I kind of shared it with my group on Facebook. They really liked it. They can't believe they're like right there. You can tell right away they don't have the same bridge of the nose right in here, and the eyes, and they're not close together. Then there's a lot of differences between Bob Joyce and Jesse Elvis anyway. But anyway, Brenda, since you are new here, I'm going to let you know. I want you to check out the other live videos that I have, especially the truth book videos. You will be very shocked. And this one here is actually very close to what Jesse said, except explains a little bit more. I thought this was interesting. I'm going to point this out. This here, the concert song, kind of like, wow, wait a minute, in the movie. I kind of like, wow. And when she described how she came out with the 2001, when she added 8 and she added 16 to 1977, it's 2001. And that was quite interesting how she came out with that. Yeah. She's a very bright lady. All right. All right. So, all right. I'm going to actually just let you finish with this song, Hit the Bricks. I think the reason why I liked this one was because he's saying it was time to hit the bricks in the cards. It was talking about I was looking in the cards and thinking numerology. He was predicting his future or his plans. So I think that's why I picked it. Thank you for checking it out and sharing it. Yes, his eyes are way wider. Elvis's eyes are way wider apart than Bob's. Great to see you discussing Cairo's book of numbers. Yeah, and I did like SK. I did the whole series on his book, the Truth Book, I call it, series. And he talks about numerology. And when Gail puts the numerology in here, she explains it just a little bit different, but it for some reason connects for me. Anyway, so I'm very shocked. This came out before his book, and she had it down. Like it was like amazing. Yeah. Yeah, Cairo's book. Yeah. So, and I thought this interesting how she was talking about the numbers and that there's 324s, all that. It's quite interesting. Very, very good. So, if you guys missed the beginning, you can just join on after and watch the recording and everything. So, this wasn't a very long part, but it's meaty because it has a lot of numbers and things. So, and this was interesting. The numbers, the letters and the numbers. Yes, she does. I think I might have shared it in one of the other videos. I think she had a picture with some math done on it. I kind of explained a little bit like, um, changing the, or actually, I think Gail has it in her book Elvis Files as well, where how he spells Aaron actually changes the number vibration in his name, and then how he added the I in the Jesse to change the number to make the number vibrations equal. It was quite interesting how she did it, because I was kind of like, all right, sure. That's just Gail now, and I think, yeah. And the thing is that Cairo's book is a different than the other book that does the whole birth date. So like, Elvis always said I'm an 8, but now he's a 9, because if you use the other book, it's a 9. It got confusing. It gets confusing. Okay. I listen to you at times. Both my son's birthday are 11 years difference. Wow. Wow. Are on the 11th, but they're 11-year difference? Is that what you're trying to say? Oh, different years. Okay. Like my dad, he was born January 17th. Okay. And my aunt was born exactly a year after him, on his sister, a year after him on the same day. She was born January 17th as well, which makes him an 8 as well. 1 plus 7 is 8. Oh, okay. James' birthday is January 11th, and David's birthday is August 11th. Cool. Both on the 11th. Yeah. I don't know. My son and my niece, my niece's birthday is May 18th, and my son's birthday is December 19th. So they missed it by one day. Or they would have been born on the same number day. But anyway. All right. So Aaron, ARON equals 15, and AARON equals 16, which would be 2 number 8s. One for Elvis and one for Jesse, each born on the 16th is when Elvis retired. Yes. Yeah, and there was something else about that too. She was saying something on the idea, I don't know, Gail said something about it, but it's in the other book that I might read later, Elvis Files. She goes more into detail, but I do have I have a couple numerology videos that I might dive into it a little deeper. But yeah. So it does change the number, maybe to make it equal. I think it's all of them equal 8, because I think, doesn't the Presley name too? I don't remember. I don't have the paper with me right now. All right. So if we have no more any more comments, I am going to hit the bricks. I'm going to play Hit the Bricks and sign off. Okay.
I knew all the signals, I read all the signs, I felt all the wrinkles in those smooth alibis. Empty out my closet, there was no need to talk. The only way to stop it was find a door and walk. It was time to hit the brakes. It was time to hit the brakes. It was time to call it quits. It was time to hit the brakes. It was time to hit the brakes. time to hit the brakes. It was time to call it quits. It was time to hit the brakes. It was time to hit the brakes.
All right.
It was time to hit the brakes.
Just I won't have any
It
more.
was time to call it quits.
Oh.
It was time to hit the brakes.
Okay, you guys, have a great night. I shall be back on next week sometime. Probably, I usually do Thursday nights, so I'll probably either do that or Tuesday this week. I haven't decided. But, that's when I'm planning to come back sometime next week, and I will announce it ahead of time. And you guys have a great night. God bless you all. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notifications and share and all that. And like this video. Okay. You guys have a great night.